Alrighty, here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Rapid Racing League Tier number 1 here for Monza. It's not a sprint like the other tiers, but we are here for the race. And for those of you that are keen-eyed, you might have noticed that tonight we don't just have the Rapid Racing Twitch running a stream tonight. We also have a secondary broadcast brought to you by Sensational TV over on the YouTube side of things. If you want to support them and support Rapid on more than one platform, feel free to do so. But I am joined, like always, by J-Rad in the comms box.
Mate, you called me eating. God damn it.
Oh no, he's at a mare.
You called me stuff in my face, mate. Hold on, give me 1 second. Just continue yapping.
Yeah, so J-Rad eating his food that he got about 5 seconds ago, so we'll leave him alone for a moment. But I forgot to say one thing that J-Rad wanted me to say, so I'll do it now. Welcome to the Autodromo Internazionale di Monza here for the Monza race for tier number 1. Qualifying is underway, and for the first time in Rapid, we are here with no collisions in qualifying. So, after a bit of a protest from the drivers last time out in Brazil due to the slipstreaming problem that is prevalent here on F1 24, we have turned collisions off. So it's all going to be about the driver's speed here on these hot laps. It just means that in between qualifying and the race, we will have a brief moment of a lobby restart. But other than that, it'll just be pure racing action from these Tier 1 boys tonight, and we're excited to get into it. 19 cars, so not a full 20 as we had a last-second dropout by a reserve that was meant to be driving, but we still have all of the heavy hitters, Campbell, Adams, Oxshiller, who we're looking at right now, Josh Ioannidis, the works, as always here for tier number 1, and the first hot lap of this qualifying session at Monza is underway, and it is Oxshiller in the RB who's kicking off proceedings.
Yes, most definitely is. I'm now back. I'm not stuffing my face anymore, and yeah, it's again what you said. It's all about the driver's speed, and the reason that we don't have the sprint tonight is because there's been rumored that we'll have a maintenance. So, and we don't want to do 2 lobby restarts and then cause the aftermath of the drivers not being able to join during the race, or even we have to rush or whatnot. So again, there'll be a brief moment, but Lindsay, this gets to show who's the fastest car on track. Literally, who's the fastest car on track, and without giving the tone, especially at a race like this, you need the toes. So in the race, we'll get to see it, which is going to be a huge DRS train like what we saw at Brazil in round 2. But for qualifying, we ain't got what we're going to see at Brazil qualifying, where there was just that massive snake through that second sector.
Yeah, that was not a good sight to see, but we won't see any of it. We might still see cars close together on the track, just because there is no collisions, but there will be no slipstreams, as Oxshiller sets the standard already in this session with an 18.6 provisional pole time. Jammy 3/10 behind that. Couple of drivers on laps at this moment. We're currently looking at Kalki, but we'll go to Thomas Reed as he's coming to the line now. It's going to be provisional pole taken away from Oxshiller and onto the Alpine car with an 18.461. So a good way to kick off the session for the Alpine, as now we move to Josh Ioannidis, who's in the first sector doing a lap of Monza for the first time in this session, and wasn't a great chicane from him at all, so struggling potentially a little bit here at Monza. On the controller is always a little bit tricky, but he'll manage to pull it off, I'm sure. He always does.
And then Campbell Adams goes to the top on the medium tyre. That's a big statement. And we're only 5 minutes into qualifying, as well as Noodles has invalidated. I think he's not used to this F1 car. I don't think he's been playing a bit too much ACC, and is used to the understeer of a GT3 and not of a rocket ship of this F1 car. As I think there was an Alpine going in P12 that was of Trent in P12, and who else is close towards the board? I think Rubik's on a lap as well. Yes, he is. Who's coming through Parabolica now. And if I do mess up one of these corner names, I'm going to be very hurt with myself.
Yeah, J-Rad, the Italian cheeseman himself, he definitely doesn't want to mess up any corner names, as we'll go to Potato, as Yusuf is slow. So Potato has had a pretty solid lap in the Haas so far, as he now rounds through the Parabolica with 12 minutes 45 to go. So still a couple more runs for everybody up and down the grid, but will Potato finish the lap? Yes, he will. What's it going to be? It's going to be a 1 minute 18.6, and onto the second row of the grid provisionally for Potato. That is a great way to kick off his session.
Yeah, that's a very nice lap from him as well. But yeah, that question mark's going to be over Campbell's head as well, because he's on the medium tyre. Could he stick it into the 1 minute 17s, Lindsay? Like, could he go for that? Because on the mediums, you don't have that much grip through the chicanes, and you find the time through pretty much turn 1, turn 2. That's where you'll find the most amount of time. But as I'm speaking now, I'm looking at Noodles. He's about to go ahead with this lap. He's got the max battery, and Lindsay, if you want to take this away.
Well, I'm not sure if he is starting lap. I think he's just coming into the pit lane.
Yeah, by the looks of it, he is.
Yeah.
So he just he just doesn't like me. As we're right on board with Ryler, who's yet to set a lap, who's still on a flying lap, but I think he's got the ERS light on, so he's not going to be left. So I think we've got a few people on outlaps as well. But that's a mega statement from Campbell as Thomas is in P2, Oxchill in P2. So I think that top three is what you're going to see a lot during qualifying, as they're pretty much the three fastest guys on the track. But there's a lot of competitiveness in this grid. But it's good to see pretty much where everyone sits at the moment in terms of pace-wise.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. But as you said, the top three will be the ones to keep an eye on, as well as one driver that hasn't set a lap yet, Josh Ioannidis. He doesn't have the raw pace of that top three we've seen so far, but he really does have some consistent race pace as well. So he'll be one to keep an eye on during the race, but here in qualifying, potentially not as much. But J-Rad, I think that What Now has given you his predictions in the Rapid Twitch chat.
Yeah, and he wants me to do a track data as well. Wait, and I did change. Wait,
No,
so he wants you to do a track
yeah,
data?
but he wants you to do
Okay.
predictions.
Yeah. So P1 Noodles from last, he better not disappoint. P2 Jamie the Jam, P3 Thomas, P4 Viper, P5 Ox Chillo, P6 Rilo, P7 Abyss, P8 Mojave, P9 Campbell, P10 Potato, P11 Flaghawk, P12 Dull Beverage, P13 Fins, P14 ZK, P15 Trent, P16 Rubik, P17 Kalkai, P18 Goat, P8 and P19 Old Sam, Drunk Driver Sam, and Lindsay of Comms. So you're gonna be the drunk comms.
Okay.
Driver the HLO, Bus Slap Noodles, and I guess I would say JRO Best T1 Comms, JRO the Cheese Pyramid God, and Lindsay the Soup Library, and 19 DNFs. Nice.
Right, that is definitely one of the more interesting predictions I think that we've had
Established.
this season. Yeah. And then track tech data for Monza. Okay, well, the Monza circuit. Oh no, lads, I haven't done my research before this round. Hold on, let's see what I remember. I think I remember.
Wow. Fraud.
I'm sorry. Okay, I do remember some things though. So it's a 5.793 kilometer circuit, and it has 11 corners with a race lap record set famously by Rubens Barrichello in the F2004 of 1 minute 21.046 with an average speed of his lap at 257 k's an hour, I want to say, and Lewis Hamilton holds the qualifying lap record around this circuit and the highest average speed record around this circuit, but I'm not sure what that speed was.
That was really good, Lindsay. When you're talking as well about the track data, Fins has jumped up to P8 and Farmer Sims jumped up to P13, and Noodles and Mojave are on their flying laps as well. As Noodles had a big snap coming out of the Lesmo 2. But it's looking like a decent lap so far, other than that big snap. Mojave is about to come towards Parabolica now, so he'll be able to set a lap in for himself before we see everyone go for their final runs towards the end of the session, as Mojave comes up to the line and he jumps up himself into P14, a 19.4.
Yeah, so not super quick from the Aston Martin, but P14 is better than last nonetheless. And now Ioannidis comes to the line, 18.8, only P10 for Josh Ioannidis so far in this qualifying session. But with final runs ahead, he's getting his eye in now, and he will be ready for the final runs, I'm sure, as well as the rest of the drivers up and down the grid. Potato, I do believe, is on a push lap currently in the Haas, and he's now heading through the second sector, but he's had a snap off the Della Roggia chicane as he now heads in towards the Lesmos, just keeping it pinned, but a bit of gravel on his inside tyre as he now heads through the second Lesmo and then accelerates right out of it. DRS open, battery on, as he heads down the straight with 7 minutes to go. So he's on a bit of an alternate run plan to a lot of the other drivers on this grid, but with collisions off, he's just able to do whatever he wants in this session run plan-wise, but he's had to back out of it. He was already nearly 2/10 down, and that was a big snap at Ascari, but he manages to keep the car going in a straight line. Now he's just going to have to back off and get ready for final runs. But Campbell Adams is on another outlap in this qualifying session. Is it time for him to make a statement before the final runs?
Yeah, most definitely. He set that benchmark on the medium tyre, and he's on the soft compound tyres now, and I reckon we have to ride on board with him, because This might set the bar very high for these drivers in the next few minutes, because he could break the 1 minute 17s. If you've done that benchmark on the medium tyre, you're bound to pull an absolute worldie of a lap at Monza. So we'll soon find out what he's got to offer as he rounds the final corner at Parabolica. As he opens up, he will come up to the line and he'll start his flying lap in hot lap mode. Opens up the DRS, heading down towards turn 1, is where we're probably going to see a little bit of kerfuffle at the start of the race. He locks the right front, but it's all good. He's got that car straight in perfectly as well through Curva Grande now, is where Lando Norris got that beautiful overtake on Charles Leclerc back in 2021. ZK's retired at Ascari, so I reckon he's hooked the tyre into the curb, and he's got it all crossed up into the barrier, so he will start pretty much dead last for tonight's race. As Campbell comes through, Lesmo too. Looks like he's in control of this McLaren, Lindsay. He's just looking, he's got stellar pace, and it's good to see what he can do. Purple sector, he's up by 1.5 tenths through Ascari, and that was pretty much as smooth as you could get as well. Through this back straight here now, and towards Parabolica, and he's 1.5 tenths now, but can he break into that 17-minute mark, 17-second mark, shall I say, as he heads up to the line and he boxes? Is that not good enough?
No, well, I do think he made a couple of mistakes on the lap, but it was going to be an improvement for the McLaren, but I don't think he wants to show his hand before the final run. Let's see if Thomas Reid and Oxchillo decide to finish their lap. So Chillo is coming towards the Parabolica now, but he is down on his previous best, so it wouldn't surprise me if he comes into the pit lane. So let's see what the Visa does as he rounds the final corner towards the line now. Is he going to come into the box? Yes, he will. Will Thomas Reid do the same thing? He's in the third sector, heading towards Parabolica. So now just tip it in through the right-hander and power out towards the line. I'm not sure if he's up on his previous best split, but will he come into the pit lane? No, he won't. Towards the line now. Thomas Reid, a 1 minute 18.192, takes provisional pole off of Campbell Adams with 3 minutes 40 to go in this session. He will be cutting it close to get another run in this session, but I'm sure he'll be able to do it. But that is not a bad lap from Thomas Reid at all, but I think that Campbell has a lot more time in it.
Yeah, most definitely. We saw it on that previous run. He was 1.5 tenths up, so he would be pretty much close to getting Thomas as well. But the track is amping up as well, so the grip levels are improving. And again, you find the time pretty much in the corners. You don't find that, and it sets up for you on the straight. So Lesmo 2, both the chicanes, well, all 3 chicanes indefinitely set you up for pretty much a good run. And if you get them all correct and consistently hit them correctly, you'll get a perfect lap under your belt. But we've got pretty much just under 3 minutes to go, Lindsay, and the drivers will be definitely coming out to start their flying laps. And I think Abyss is on a flying lap as well. He's down on his time, so he won't be setting another lap. I don't think he'll have enough time to go back around again as Trent goes up into P9, sets an 18.8. But I dare say he's going to be dropping down the order when the time ticks down to the minute mark.
Yep, I would happen to agree with you. And 2 minutes 20 left in the session. Campbell and Thomas know they can go very, very late in this session. It's a minute 18-ish lap on a push lap. Probably around a minute 20 with no battery on, or a minute 19, and they will go out as late as they possibly can while still getting the temps that they need as they gear up for this qualifying session. Oxchillo is out on his outlap. Potato is also out on his outlap in the third sector, about to begin a final flying lap in Italy. So we'll stay with Potato for now, but when he crosses the line, we'll go back to Oxchillo, and then all eyes will be on Campbell Adams, who's just begun his outlap of this circuit here in Italy. and it is going to be a very, very fast final flying lap. It's very easy to tell that he has more pace in it. We saw it on his second run in the qualifying session, so it is going to be all eyes to him. But for now, it's all eyes to Potato as he crosses the line to start a lap. J-Rod, do you want to take this one away?
Yes, most definitely. Potato sitting P6 at the moment. Can he improve on his time? If he improves by at least a 10th, he can jump up into P3 at the moment through turn 1 and 2. Now, Rilo's retired from the sessions. He'll stay P16 through Curva Grande now as he shifts up the gears 7th into 8th now. He's staying in the hot lap mode, not using the overtake button just yet through the second chicane now. Very easy to get this crossed up on the sausage curves, but he's done that perfectly through Lesmo 1 now. Flicks the car in 5th gear, uses all the track on the exit down into the second Lesmo 5th gear once again, and uses track on all the exit. He's pushing this car to the absolute limit, opens up the DRS, a little bit of the overtake on exit as well to get that extra straight line speed towards Ascari now. Does he invalidate here? No, he doesn't. He swings the car in beautifully. Could have used a little bit more of the curb on the inside at the second kink. But I dare say he's a little bit down in his time because that didn't look like a perfect run through Ascari, through Parabolica now. And I think he's going to use all his overtake through towards the white line. As he heads up to the white line, the finish line of his lap. And he jumps up into P3, improves by 2/10. Qualifying's done. Thomas is on a provisional pole. Campbell Adams, he's into the second Lesmo now. Lindsay, let's go from here.
Yeah, so Campbell Adams is now going towards this, down the straight towards the Ascari complex. So he's about to enter the third sector of his final flying lap. He is 3/10 up. Can he break into the 1:17s? It's going to be all to play for here for Campbell Adams if he wants to break into those 17s. But right now it looks like he has the number over Thomas Reed as he heads towards the Parabolica now. Campbell Adams on an absolute flyer here in the end of this qualifying session. So let's see what he can muster up as he comes towards the line now, and up towards the line. It's going to be a 1:18.036 for the McLaren, and it is going to be pole position for the McLaren driver. And what a lap from Campbell Adams it was, as there's only one more driver left on a lap. And it won't be anywhere near pole position, I'm sure, but it could be a place inside the top 10. Here comes Big Munry towards the line. It's going to be an 18.787 P9 for the Sauber. Potato is just got to finish his lap. Then qualifying will be done, but Campbell Adams takes a dominant pole position here in the Temple of Speed.
That was a stellar lap. That was a beautiful lap. The top two, pretty much in a league of their own. At the moment, they've set the bar high, and the biggest name, like down the order, is Noodles down in P14. That is, we saw him in the last 2 rounds. He's been up there the whole entire time, and he's sitting in P14 for the start of the races. That's where you don't want to be, especially where it's going to be a massive train, and you don't want to get held up.
Yeah, it is definitely not the place to be. Monza, historically known for turn 1 carnage, and that's not what you want to get caught up in. Tier 2 yesterday was a bit of a war zone, but yeah, not the place you want to be anywhere outside the top 10, and even inside the top 10. Realistically, for turn 1 at Monza, you need to be somewhere in that top 6, otherwise you will end up getting involved in some sort of carnage. As Campbell Adams chiming into the Rapid Twitch chat saying, holy moly, that last sector was bad, and he is not happy with his lap. So definitely 17s were in the realm of possibility for the McLaren. So now we'll get the fake start, where everybody will just straight line or retire off the line. So let's see what sort of carnage we see, and then we'll have
This will be a little fun session.
Yeah, and then we'll have a quick soft lobby reset to put collisions back on for the racing action. So let's see. This is probably, honestly, a preview of every open lobby ever at Monza. So this could be possible when we go into the actual race as well. So let's see what all the drivers muster up.
It's just a practice for turn 1. Who's gonna kill who at the start of the race? So I have to keep an eye on who's gonna do that. But Pretty sure everyone will just be retiring the cars and whatnot.
Yeah, so the collisions are off, but here we go for
Oh,
the first
flight down,
start.
away we go. And someone's done off the restart of the start, and that's Campbell Adams. He's as ever. Oh my God, what is going? There's a Ferrari in the wall, and there's another Ferrari in the wall.
This is not what Jared wants to be seeing. It's
Holy moly!
oh no, this is what happens when you give the drivers too much freedom, ladies and gentlemen.
This is carnage.
Yusuf is struggling to DNF.
Jammy's just gone
Jamie,
through the top, and he's
has he DNF? No, he didn't even DNF.
so little bit Javier takes the race lead. Oh, he spun around. Flaghawk's coming home in P2, and he's crashed.
Yep. So in the dummy start,
And look,
on the dummy start, Mahavir will be
back it up, Derek, back it up.
will be the race winner in the dummy start. So if he can just DNF, how is he struggling to DNF? He's the most. He is potentially. He's the most DNF prone driver in the history of F1 League racing, and he can't DNF when he needs to.
That's strategy, ladies and gentlemen. Oh,
There we go.
He's done it!
We got there eventually. So there's the dummy race, but now we have a little bit of a downtime while we get the grid order set once again. Well, while JRAD gets the grid order set once again. So I didn't prepare anything for this actually. I don't have the intermission thing set up. I have still Australia's track map.
Oh.
We'll give it a go. Hold on. Let's.
Ah, what? What do I gotta do? Oh, hello, hello. Oh, hello, hello, chat. It's gone on chat.
There we go. Okay, I am back. Sorry about that. Rad did not know that I did not have audio coming through. So that was amazing. As Reese Fisher comes into comes into the chat and just says is just explaining to what now how this system works. Yeah, so just for a little bit of context for people who have just joined the stream or they don't know much about the F1 game, which I'd imagine would be not many of yous, honestly, but a few of yous. So currently, with the state of F1 24, there is a problem where the lobby resets, not the lobby resets, the qualifying, the slipstream is too strong and you don't get enough dirty air. So drivers will just pile into 20-car trains and set ultra-fast qualifying lap times, even if they don't do good qualifying laps overall. So to avoid that, we turn collisions off in qualifying, and then when we go to the race start, everybody just DNFs, retires, and then we go back to the lobby, reset the grid order, turn collisions back on, and then we have a normal race. Just for all of those that were wondering, it's just to make sure that the qualifying is as fair as possible, and we can have the most fun for everybody up and down the grid, which is absolutely fantastic to see that at least there's a solution to the problem, which is always nice. As I'm just fixing something on the broadcast quickly, but yeah, Gerard is working behind the scenes currently to get the grid order, and then we'll be back underway for the race.
Now, I don't know if we are allowed to set the weather as well. It's originally what it was.
No, it's just back to dynamic again. Why? What was it going to be?
Pretty sure it's going to be sunny.
Oh, well.
But it should be fine. It'll probably be sunny anyway. If it's raining, then oh well, GG.
That's fine. So there we go. I fixed the broadcast. We now have the track map up like we were supposed to. So the chat box isn't working. How good? Noodles needs to fix his broadcast. Anyway, because that was all pioneered by him. But Rad, going into the race, I know you're busy at work right now, but we have quite a close competition ahead of us, and the qualifying isn't the most important thing at Monza. With the DRS, you would still expect one of those top 3 in qualifying to come out up the front. But could we see a dark horse in this race come through? With the way Monza is, as long as you stay in the train, you could win the race.
Oh, give me a smickin. Just give me a smickin.
Okay. Rad's too focused to talk. So, yes, so it's definitely going to be interesting. I think we do have a few dark horses, obviously. Josh Ioannidis coming back through the field. If turn 1 goes wrong for a couple of drives, he could find himself well inside that top 10 after turn 1 and turn 2. And that could definitely make the race just a little bit more interesting. You can see on the track map there, it's a very tight chicane. There's not too much road to use either. So the drivers have to stay vigilant if they are to try and survive turn 1. So it's always a bit of a tricky point for a lot of the drivers when it comes to Monza. So it looks like we're about to get ready to go once again.
Oh, I'm back.
And Rad is now ready. We'll cut it back to the racing action, and Rad can talk for a couple of moments.
So, who I think is going to be the dark horse. I know he's sitting. I know he's not really a dark horse, but he's sitting in P14. I reckon Noodles will be finishing very high up the grid as well. I feel like he's going to be up there. Viper as well. He's been a dark horse in the past 2 races as well. He's been hovering around that main bunch in the top 8. But I reckon he's going to have pace today. I feel like we're going to have to watch out for Viper and Noodles because they're going to be charging through the pack like there's no tomorrow. And pit stops could be very key here as well. It's whoever's got the smarter strategy. If there's an early safety car, who do they pit for another set of mediums? Do they stay out? Do they pit for a hard tyre? You don't know. Anything could happen. It's all going to come down to where you pick your battles, how you strategize yourself during the race, and when the virtual safety cars or the safety cars come out, because that could make or break your position at the end of the race.
Yep, so the drivers will be thinking about that as they get ready for the lights. So everybody picking their tyres. The medium hard and the hard medium strategy will be the most popular one on the grid if safety cars do not get deployed, which at Monza is almost inevitable. So that could definitely be something to shake up this race. So we know that we have Campbell Adams starting on pole position from Thomas Reed in P2. Those two have found each other, found themselves side by side with each other all too much almost in the most recent months. So January being last month, we're already into February, and then in November and December. So they'll find themselves wheel to wheel again, like we've come to expect here in Monza as we come to the lights. And it is lights out and away we go here in Monza for the 27 lap feature race. And Thomas Reed already looking to make a move down towards turn 1. Campbell Adams can't quite... no, Campbell Adams gets off to a good start. Thomas Reed can't get a good start. Potato's going wheel to wheel. He's already making a move towards the P2 position. He's side by side as now they head through Curva Grande. Abyss is side by side with Jamie Dodge as they head down the straight. And now Yusuf Goat tries to find himself fighting for the position as well as they head towards the Della Roggia chicane for the first time in the race. And Yusuf goes down the inside, gets it done. Jamie loses out the place, and now Oxshilo is trying to show the nose down the inside of the first Lesmo, gets that one done. He's already up into the top 6. Meanwhile, Josh Ioannidis in the background only moved up 1 place through turn 1 and turn 2. But considering it's a Monza turn 1, all of the drivers got through it relatively cleanly. No yellow flags to be shown just yet. And Campbell Adams is leading from Reed, then Potato. As in the background, that's a Williams. That was Finns putting the pressure on Mahavir as they head through Ascari. Wasn't able to quite show the nose, but he was very, very close behind as we are about to wrap up proceedings here on lap 1 as they head through the Parabolica.
That was a great start from Campbell Adams. He really had to get ahead of Thomas heading towards turn 1, and Potato putting the pressure on Thomas as well, which kind of compromised his line as well. But speaking of Thomas, he's got the slipstream, he's got side by side, he's now past Campbell Adams, so now he would take the lead. Oxshiller crucially gets past Yusuf, because if he stayed behind him any longer, he would have lost out the DRS to the top 4. And so now he's moving up into P5. He's got to keep with this top four, because remember, he's in a championship fight with these three, and he's the leader of the championship at the moment, I think, as it stands, or Campbell. But one of the two, these two are fighting for the championship as well. And yeah, Noodle's back down to the 14th. He's pretty much not stayed where he is, and I think a lot of people haven't moved around that much, except for in the top 10. But other than that, that's what you expect at Monza. Not many movements. It's just staying in the train for as long as possible.
Yeah, and that is what Monza's all about, especially on the F1 game, but it's prevalent in real life as well. It's a big straight line, basically, with a couple of chicanes to split up the action, so we'll see quite a few position changes with the DRS for the moment, but in the second stint will be when we really see these drivers shine and show off all the capability they have of racing wheel to wheel with each other. As now we'll get the tyres up on the screen. So every single driver in this field started on the medium tyres. I expected to see some hard compound tyres from what I was hearing murmurs of yesterday from a couple of the Tier 1 drivers, but it's not going to stay that way, as down towards Turn 1, Potato trying to make a move on Thomas Reed, who got overtaken by Campbell Adams already, and Potato moving up into P2. He's flying here in the Temple of Speed, and in the background as well, that was Mahavir side by side with Finns, and now Trent Newton invites himself into this little battle as well, as they go side by side through Curva Grande. Trent Newton, the long way round as they head towards the Della Roggia chicane. Who's going to go last on the brakes? Trent goes down the inside, isn't able to get the place. Mahavir holds onto it, but Mahavir still squirming away on the rear end as they head through the Lesmos. He's really struggling to hold on to place here in Monza, and it's really showing as he's falling off just a little bit from the back of Finns as well. And speaking of falling off the back of a train, Yusuf Goat at a couple of corners ago was nearly a second behind Jammy, but now Jammy's nearly a second behind Oxchillo. The DRS, the only thing clinging them to this train.
Yeah, most definitely. Viper has gotten the move done. Oddale Beveridge for P12. And yeah, Mahavir struggling, as well as you were commentating as well. Finch just did it around the outside at the second chicane. I don't know how you do that, but he did it. There was no contact whatsoever. There was no front to tail contact. He just got it cleanly done, and he's now in P9. And crucially, he's gotten ahead of that Aston Martin, we could see the break of two trains soon. But back up the front as well, Potato now takes the lead of the race from Campbell Adams, as now Oxchill and Abyss go side by side, and Abyss says thank you very much, and he defends himself into P4. But now Oxchill goes around the outside through Curva Grande, heading towards the he'll have the inside line for the chicane, but he backs out of it momentarily, so we could see a move on later from him, as well as there's still the train in the Abyss. But now I think Trent had a mistake. He's gone wide, and now he's 1.3 seconds behind Finns, and this is what you don't want. And it's already lap 4 out of 27.
Yeah, it is going to take a good bit of driving from Trent to get back into that DRS range while not having the DRS. It feels almost impossible of a task around Monza, so it'll be interesting to see how he holds up to that one. But one thing's for sure is that Viper will be attacking him. But Potato took a win in our partner league at OCE on Sunday, and now he's filled with confidence, it looks like, as he goes side by side with Campbell Adams at the Parabolica. You don't see that every day, but they're still wheel to wheel. Maybe a little bit of DRS chicken came into that. Campbell Adams wanted to open up the rear wing, so who is going to open up the rear wing in this train? Will it be Potato or Campbell Adams? It's going to be neither of them. Neither of them got the DRS, and now they're going to get swamped as they head towards turn 1. Abyss goes down the inside of Potato, and now Campbell Adams as they head through the second part. There's contact, and that is Abyss half spinning around, and now he's getting eaten alive by all the cars behind. Jammy trying to find a move as well as they head through Curva Grande, but that was contact between Potato and Abyss as they come to blows. But Potato has a lot more confidence in these past couple of days, and it's really showing at the moment, but not what he'd need in this race at all, as Abyss manages to hold on to the place. But Potato back to P3, potentially just a little bit of a mistake there to try and play the DRS chicken.
That was a very scary maneuver, but it was also a very smart play from Potato as well, but didn't work out in his favour. So I don't think he got DRS indefinitely, as well as Manry tries to go around the outside of Yusuf, but can't get the move done. I thought he was going to go around the outside of Scary. That'd be scary. As well, yeah, that was very scary going into turn 1, and Potato played his cards right, but he just didn't get the DRS which would have hurt him, but now he's all over the back of Campbell Adams once again, heading through Parabolica. Heading on to the main straight once again as we now hit lap 6 out of 27. As now they're going to tuck into the toe of Thomas Reed. And does anyone go for a move here? And I think they just stay in a line, just having a good time as Noodles is up into P11. Now side by side with Lord Mojave into turn 1. But now Noodles getting the moves done. This is what he needs. He crucially needs to get up to the back of Finn's.
Yep.
Soon.
He knows that this is exactly what he needs to be doing, and I think an undercut could be in order from the V-Carb driver. As down towards the second chicane, that's Rubric and Farmer Sam who were wheel-to-wheel up the back. But yeah, Ioannidis really needs to start making up some places, and being outside that DRS of the P9 to P1 train is absolutely crucial, with Mahavir being 1.6 seconds behind. The only real realm of possibility here, unless there's too much squabbling and Ioannidis can close back in that way, will be an undercut, and it's not a bad choice here at Monza, as the hard tyres can last quite a while, so I think that could be his best option.
Yeah, most definitely is. When you were saying at the start about the hard tyre, don't think anyone would have really gone for it. It lasts a long time, but you need to, the most important thing is you've got to stay within the DRS train. So as Cameron he got DRS, but he's closed the wing. Now he's opened it. I think he forgot that he had a rear wing on him, and now Thomas Reed is under pressure heading into turn 1. Campbell Adams and Potato side by side, and there's a little bit of contact there. Again, and Potato gets the move done ahead, but they're still side by side through Curva Grande. And now Campbell Adams is on the inside line. He makes his way back up into P2. This is exciting stuff. This is what we love to see here in Tier 1. But there's, with the movement around, especially at a track where you don't see much going on, except in the trains, but only very little. As far as Sam gets a 3-sec for multiple warnings as well. So that's the first driver to get penalties. And that's another thing, Lindsay. Can penalties shake up the result later in the race, because it's very easy to go wide and then exceed track limits, or even cut through here at the Scari at the first part of the track, or even go wide as well on the exit. It's very easy to and you have to minimize the track cuts and everything.
Yeah, so there's something strange going on here as they head through the Parabolica. Chillo goes wheel to wheel with Abyss, and now he's wheel to wheel with Potato as they go side by side through the Parabolica. Now onto the straight. It's going to be hell for leather here as they go down the straight towards the turn 1 and 2 braking zone here for Abyss, Potato and Oxchillo. They're 3 wide. This could only go wrong as they go side by side through the apex. Potato backs out of it. He thinks better of it, but Abyss says thank you very much and tries to take both of the places for Potato. Gets the good run, and now he's trying to think about it the long way round to the Curva Grande as they head through the Curva Grande. They go. There's another car getting involved. It's Jammy as they head into the braking zone. Potato is not going to try and lose out to the Red Bull, but he might lose out anyway as they head towards the Lesmos. And now Potato's going to fight this one back as they head towards the fast right-hander. He takes the place back. Doesn't lose too much time to the leaders, but who did was Oxchillo. He's nearly lost the DRS to Campbell Adams, and he's just held on to it.
He's just held on. Oh no, he didn't get DRS. He's out of the 1 second. So all this battling commotion between for the battle for third could have definitely not. It could ruin their race, and it looks like it has, because they're not getting closer at all. So all that battling, all that squabbling, has just gifted Thomas Reed and Campbell Adams pretty much the podium as it stands, unless an undercut or a safety car does happen. But other than that, they now need to work together to catch up to this top 2. Otherwise, they're going to be battling for P3, as that's Jammy down the inside of Potato. He had a look, but he couldn't get the move done. As now, pretty much from 3rd all the way down to 9th, it is pretty much just a Constantina effect, and Viper is leading the other train, who sits 3.5 seconds behind. So that's going to be the battle for the back end of the points. Is that's what I don't think, especially for Noodles, that's what you don't want to be in right now.
Yeah, it is not the position you want to be in when your team is in multiple Constructors fights. They're in the overall Constructors fight and the Tier 1 Constructors fight at the moment. So only being in P11 and your teammate not fighting all the way for the win like he normally is, although they have closed back into the DRS during this lap. It's not a position that you want to be in. You don't want the other teams to be closing in on you. Even though it's only the third round of the season, every round does count in this rapid Tier 1 grid, as any small mistake could really change the dynamics of the championship. But they have managed to close back into the DRS range, so the train should continue as it was, and I think that the people fighting for P3 probably will learn from that mistake and not fight too hard, at least not hard enough to lose that DRS again, as that could be well and truly race over. But in a couple of laps' time, I would expect cars to also be coming into pit stops, as that Potato falling down the order. I didn't catch what happened. J-Rad, did you?
I definitely did. I was riding on board with Jamie. He rear-ended the back of Oxchillo, and I think he outbroke himself and locked the rears. So I don't think he hit him, but it definitely sent him into a snap, and that's cost him because he was sitting in a respective P5, which would have been perfect points for him. But now he's at the back of the train sitting P9. Yes, he's lost 4 places, but to get back up to where he was, he's got a lot ahead of him.
Yeah, at Monza, moving up 4 places is like moving up 400 with all the DRS being open. He was fighting for a podium earlier on in the race. He was fighting for a win. So potentially an undercut could be in order for Potato to get himself further up in this train. I know it's what a couple of drivers did last night in Tier 2, and it worked to a treat. And they managed just to close up 1 or 2 positions in the train. It doesn't gain you too much here around the Temple of Speed, but just enough to get yourself out of hot water. And if he can gain even 3 positions to be close behind Jammy Dodge again, he'd be right back into it. But being at the back of the train, not what you want. But that is Potato and Big Munnery coming into the pit lane here on lap 11, as expected. As meanwhile up the front as well, Abyss swapping positions with Campbell Adams. But they know this is not the time to fight now. This is where they need to cover off the undercut.
Yeah, most definitely. This is where you pretty much, the train that you're in, you've all got to work together to cover the undercut, is basically what you said. But some drivers take it literally, and they don't work together. They just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and it affects them later on. So we'll have to keep an eye on where Manry and Potato pop out, as when these boys box. Do they box this lap, or do they keep going? Because even for an undercut to work, you've got to have a DRS buddy as well. If you don't have a DRS buddy, then definitely the overcut will work in your rivals' favour, because they're still with each other the whole entire way. They've still got the slipstream and all that stuff. If you're just by yourself, then it's good luck to you, because they're gonna have the better grip, better straight line speed, as well. As I think Manry and Potato, they're together, so I don't think that will affect them. But I think now the main leaders are pitting, so Thomas, Abyss and Oxchillo pit, Yusuf and Finn's pit as well. Campbell Adams and Jamie stay out for another lap. Noodle stays out. Viper and Mojave is coming for another. Mojave gets a 10 sec for speeding in the pit lane. I think ZK got the same fate as well. Rilo and Dale Beveridge are also in as well. Rapper Rurik gets a 3 sec for multiple warnings, but now we'll go down towards the back. Where does Potato and Manru pop out? They're coming onto the main straight now, and I think they pop in just behind Oxchillo and Abyssin left for dead, as Yusuf jumped Potato.
Yes, he did. So that is definitely an interesting turn of events, and I don't think Potato's going to move too far up in his train. He did get past Finn's from his train, but that is just about it. So the undercut not proving powerful enough at this stage, but it could prove powerful enough for Oxchillo, Abyss and Thomas Reed, as Campbell Adams decided to stay out the extra lap. So we'll go back up to the front with Jamie and Campbell Adams. Let's see how they hold on here as they round the Parabolica. Surely they come into the pit lane this lap. They don't want more than a 2-lap undercut. Yes, they do. So Campbell and Jamie now pull into the pit lane. I would imagine once again we'll see the undercut not be super powerful, but it could be more powerful for these drivers. We'll see how it goes as Campbell Adams heads towards the pit box now, strapping on a set of the white-striped hard compound tyres, and now he begins his journey towards the end of the pit lane. Everybody is rounding the Parabolica now in the mid-pack train, and also the front train. And it looks like, Campbell had a wobble on the exit, and he has been jumped by Oxchillo. He slots out just in front of the massive battle with Munry, Potato, and Yusuf as they head through turn 1. So the train, except for Campbell Adams losing a place, or 3 places, is going to stay relatively the same here in Monza. So the undercut hasn't done too well for a lot of the drivers involved, but for those top 3, it definitely has.
Yeah, most definitely. I think it was the smartest play there. Not really the smartest play from Jamie and Campbell Adams, as the undercut, again, is very powerful here. And pretty much 2 laps. 2 laps and you're not... And it's pretty much bye-bye. It's like, if they pitted at the same time as these boys did, they'd be still ahead in the lead as well. And in the background, Tato and Flaghawk, Manry swapping positions, and P6 goes to Potato. Potato gets a 3-sec for multiple warnings as well. I think he cut the inside at the Ascari chicane. So that's going to gutter him down to pretty much P9 as it stands at the end of this race. And he's not within the DRS as well, so he's now got to be on another mission to catch up to this top 5.
Yeah, and a driver that was doing so well to hold on to a top 3 fight earlier on in this race is really falling apart as Munry goes back past him towards turn 1. A 3-second time penalty is basically last on the list of things that you need to see when you're racing, especially around a track like Monza where all the gaps are so close. A 3-second is so detrimental to your race, and all the way to the back of train he'll go, and without DRS as well, it's ever more saddening as it is going to be very hard, especially with the drivers in front of them, to close back up to Jamie, Campbell, Abyss, Chillo, and Thomas Reed, all very fast drivers in this region. It is going to be one big challenge for them.
Yeah, most definitely. And you can see the gap is now 1.5 seconds, so there's no way that they will be able to catch back up unless the top 5 start fighting out again like what they did in that first stint, and they start losing time to pretty much these guys ahead. But I think Potato and Manry will be working together to try and catch back up. But it's only a matter of time before we hit the end of the race, and they're still in their same positions.
Yeah, so as they head down the straight, let's see what swaps around with the leaders. Campbell Adams has been patiently sitting in P4 since he came out of the pits, but Abyss isn't going to wait around. He goes the long way around to turn 1. That is an incredible move to pull off from the Ferrari, and Oxchillo isn't able to switch back underneath either and get the run through Curva Grande, so that was a brilliant move from Abyss to move up into the P2 place. But Thomas Reed is escaping a little bit. It's still 0.5 of a second. They still have the DRS, but it definitely could play crucial if there's any sort of mistake, as Abyss not quite as fast as Thomas Reed at this point, nearly dropping to 0.7, but it should still be enough to hold on to the DRS, luckily for this train, but that's not what you want to see. This could allow Thomas Reed to really get away if it goes wrong for any of them. So down the straight towards Ascari now. Will Oxchillo swap around with Abyss, or is he going to let him stay ahead as they head through Ascari? No, he isn't going, and they close right back up to Thomas Reed. So luckily, the DRS at Monza proving very, very effective, as we've come to expect.
Yeah, most definitely. And through that second sector, Potato was close. He was really close into getting underneath that 1 second gap and keeping his hopes alive with staying in this within the top 6. Because if he did, he could pull away from the cars behind and he'd secure himself a P6. So Abyss sets the fastest lap of the race. Potato sets the fastest lap of the race. So these boys are using a lot of ERS now. Abyss, around the outside, takes the race lead before the corner. And we have a new race leader, a Ferrari man, sitting in P1. You love to see it, but I'd hope to see that in real life someday as well. As we're pretty much closing on 2/3 of the race inwards. We've pretty much got 1/3 of the race left. So it's definitely going to be spicing up towards the end of the race, Lindsay. We're definitely going to see this top 5 come alive towards the end, and we're definitely going to see a mistake from someone or an incident from 2 or more people that could shake up this top 3.
Yeah, definitely, especially in the sort of situation that this race is in with these leaders as Thomas Reid swaps around with Abyss once again. With only a 5-car train with Potato dropping off this lap, it is going to be very, very, very gloves off as we head towards the end. We saw it in the first stint as well when the top 9 was all battling. They were scrapping away like it was the final couple of laps. So that was a preview. But then they settled down as they headed towards the pit stops and after the pit stops. But once we get to this 10 laps to go, which we're about to enter, slowly every lap we'll see probably just a little bit more battling. Case in point right now is Oxchillo pulled to the outside of Abyss, but Campbell Adams might be trying to show the nose as well. No, not quite. And Abyss actually able to hold on. Campbell Adams goes down the inside, potentially just a little bit of a mix-up on the brakes, but he isn't quite able to pull it up alongside Oxchillo. But that was nearly a massive moment here in this race as Campbell definitely missed his braking point slightly. That was a very abrupt move under braking. Definitely, maybe a code brown for Campbell Adams.
Oh, most definitely. And I think it would have been a code brown for Oxchillo as well. He would have seen that coming, and he could have thought that his race was over, especially with Campbell. So that's what you don't want to be doing, but it's a smart play as well at the same time. We've got a yellow flag. ZK's in the wall, and that's a virtual safety car.
That is, it was always coming at some point at Monza, but I was expecting to see the full safety car call, but we do have the virtual one out. Oh no, it's been upgraded. The full safety car.
Oh, GG. Yeah, so what I've seen from Rubrik's point of view, it looks like ZK's been tapped into the wall, so someone's gone for a move down the inside, or he's trying to hold around the outside, and it's not worked in his favour, and it's just given him the wall. Oh, Manry gets a 10 sec for speeding in the pit lane, which is super unfortunate, and now all the drivers got to start filing in, which could definitely shake up the grid after we get into the safety car mode and see where the drivers line up, because definitely we're going to see some double stacking and a little bit of the hold-ups in the pit lane. And yeah, and the only person, and no one stays out. Some people are getting some wing changes as well, but it's Thomas Reid taking the lead as it stands. Abyss, Oxchillo, Campbell, Jamie, Potato, Manry, who will have to will pretty much just got 13 seconds under his belt, as well. Mojave has a 10-second who will be serving in the pit lane, but that 10 seconds is going to be hovering over Manry unless he serves it now. Yusuf in P8, Finn's in P9, Viper in P10, Newell's in P11, who will be able to catch back up, so he's got to crucially get past Viper and it's going to be hammer time for him. He's got to put the foot down, he's got to keep going, because I reckon he wants to be in this top 10 fight. Yeah. Sooner or later. He's got two people ahead of him with pens as well, which he could benefit from as well.
Yeah, it is going to be a crucial point in the race. Obviously, we were just expecting a virtual. I wonder what caused it to upgrade. Maybe a driver losing their wing on the stranded car, but it definitely throws just a bit of mystery into this race. And a couple of drivers with 3 seconds. Potato will not be liking the fact that the grid has closed right back up and the train is no longer 2. I think we're going to see basically a carbon copy of the first stint once again. Everybody back on mediums again, but it's going to be a bit shorter and a bit more aggressive, as if the first stint wasn't aggressive enough, and it is going to be very entertaining. But this puts a lot of the drivers in a better spot than they were in before, and specifically a driver that we stopped talking about after we realised he'd lost the DRS, Josh Ioannidis, is now still P11, but with a big train ahead of him, big lots of DRS ahead of him, he could change his race now and he could move himself back up into those crucial positions. This could change the way this race was going to go out in the constructors entirely as well. So there's a good couple of talking points that this safety car has caused. But everybody back on mediums. That's another thing about having the soft lobby reset after qualifying. It means that everybody has loads of tyres. You have all the sets of soft tyres you would ever need, all the sets of mediums you'd ever need, and all the sets of hards. So tyres no longer become something to factor in when you head into the race. It is just a soft lobby reset, and you gun it for everything that you have.
Yeah, most definitely. And I don't think we're going to see any people on the soft tyre at this stage in the race as well. I think the mediums is the perfect call to go right to the end, but it's just going to show who's going to be the aggressor, who's going to be aggressive towards us back into the race, and who's going to be pretty much bringing the elbows out, who's going to be defending like a lion. I reckon that top 5, some's going to go up in flames. There's someone's going to crash. I'm booking it right now. Someone is going to crash. And it's going to be from a defending point of view, I reckon. Lindsay, what are your thoughts? What do you think? What's going to happen?
I'd happen to agree with you, but I don't think it's going to be from a defender's point of view, as we now have the safety car in this lap, Thomas Reed leading the train away. But I do think there will be an incident. Sparks will fly, and Tier 1 chat will go off, much to my dismay as the head steward. It definitely could be an interesting night in the box for the stewards, but we have 8 laps remaining. It is going to be a sprint to the end. So even though we didn't have the sprint round, it's a 9-lap sprint, and now we have an 8-lap dash until the end, and it is going to be very, very interesting to see how this one would go. We're basically getting a look into what if the sprint actually happened now. So Thomas Reed leading the train away. When will he go? He's going very slow, backing up the pack. He's waiting, and now he guns it. So Thomas Reed takes away this restart. Abyss gets off to a reasonable restart as well, but does lose out just a little bit to Thomas Reed. Oxchiller trying to make up moves as well. He's closing in on the Ferrari as they head down towards turn 1, but here comes Campbell Adams as well, trying to make a move. It's a 3-wide potato. Munnery and Jammy were wheel to wheel with each other, but Jammy managed to pull back ahead as Munnery and Potato go side by side as they head through the curve. Grande Noodles also in the background trying to make up places as well. He is on the back of Viper as they head towards the second chicane, but already they're losing a bit of time to the main train. But up the back is where you need to keep your eyes on at the moment, as all of the battling is going on back here. But back up towards the front, Abyss is losing out just a little bit to Thomas Reed. The train in the top 5 is spreading out just a little bit, so potentially the restart catching a couple of people off guard, but they're all holding on to the DRS range at the moment. There's a yellow flag on the track once again, and is that another virtual safety car? Yes, it is.
Yeah, Farmer Sam's got no front wing whatsoever. I think he was taken out by someone down in the back as well. I think it was overtaking the 2 Mercedes and the Aston driver, so some must have happened between those 3 and himself as well. As I was riding on board with Viper, and Yusuf has got an end plate missing, ran off the back of Manry, and he's got an end plate misses, which is going to be very crucial towards the end of the race, and you want to get past him immediately, but that's going to help his straight line speed in a way as well, because the less downforce you've got, the more straight line speed you have, and he's going to be a very hard person to pass as well, but we're just waiting on board for the virtual safety car to finish. We've got 7 laps to go in this race, and it's all to play for. It was all to play for, but that was a very, very good restart from Thomas. He caught Abyss sleeping a little bit, did he? As Farmer Sammy gets a 10 sec for speed in the pit lane, I'm pretty sure he's going to call a night or pit for the soft compound tyre, and then call it a night for the fast lap of the race, which you do get an extra point for, but we're just waiting now, just waiting for the green flags. As Flagwell gets a drive-through, so not only he gets a 10 sec, he's got a drive-through as well. So this is going to hurt his opportunity to pretty much get points in whatsoever, because he'll drop right down to the back behind Rubik and P17. As now they come through Ascaria once again, as Campbell Adams is all over the back of Ox Chili. They're all over the back of each other pretty much as they head towards Parabolica now. And where does this set up Left for Dead? Where does this set him up? Is he going to get swamped? He probably is. But it's just how many places will he lose on this straight as they head towards the start-finish straight. the start finish line as as Manry gets a 10-sec and retires the car. I think he's just had enough. Abyss takes the race lead. Oxchillo looking around the outside, can't get the move done. He's going to be under pressure from Campbell Adams, who gets contacted by Jamie as well, and that's going to lose him out a lot of time between him and the top 4, and that's what you don't want to be doing at this stage in the race. But you've just got to be aggressive. You've got to put your nose of the car where it's not supposed to go, and hope and pray that a gap might open up.
Yeah, and Campbell Adams is really pushing, but Oxchillo is losing just a little bit of time to these top 2. He will be in the DRS and close right back in, as we've seen, the constant theme of this race, but definitely struggling with safety car restarts and virtual safety car restarts just a little bit is Oxchillo, so that could be something to keep of note as we head deeper and deeper into the season. As in the background, Jammy and Potato nearly battled away, but Viper did get a move done on Yusuf, and they made a little bit of contact during the second portion of Ascari, but we are nearly onto lap 23, and it is going to be a 4-lap dash until the end here in the Temple of Speed, and it's anybody's guess as to who will take the victory at the moment. But you have your favourites, you have your Abyss, your Thomas Reed, Oxchillo, Campbell Adams are your main top 4 contenders, but in the background as well, Jammy is there and Potato is looking to make a move, but up the front, Thomas Reed swaps around with Abyss once again, and Potato is going to go down the inside of the Red Bull and try and move up into the P5 place, gets that one done, and he stays inside the DRS range of Campbell Adams to boot, but that 3-second is definitely hanging over his head, so unless there's something we haven't seen in this race, potentially a way to get a penalty removed, it is going to be damage limitation for the Haas driver, but it's something to keep in mind if he does continue charging his way through the grid. The place he finishes definitely could be more helpful than we think as we head through lap 23 towards the third sector. Now, Thomas Reed is pulling a reasonable gap, but the DRS just about hanging him on. Josh Ioannidis has now moved up into P8, but once again he finds himself losing that top fight train, and he's 1.3 seconds away from Finns, so that is not ideal for him, but it's better than a situation he was in a couple of laps ago before the safety car. But Thomas Reed really trying to pull away, but it's only 3.5 tenths. It closes in towards Ascari every single time he gets a little bit of a gap. So now, through the Parabolica they go. He'll be overtaken by Abyss. Will Chillo take his fancy as well at a move, or will he wait behind him? Potato as well, 6 tenths back. Will he try go for a move on Campbell Adams? It all is going to be found out as we head towards turn 1 now, as we enter onto lap 24. In the DRS, Thomas Reed is actually defending, so he's not willing to swap around anymore. He's defending the place he doesn't swap around. With Abyss this time around, Chillo had his nose in the long way round, and Campbell Adams did as well, as Potato and Jammy trying to get his nose back in as well as Finns at the back of the train. So this whole top 7 is looking to find a way into that top 4 area, but Campbell Adams is very close behind Oxchillo. Will he go for a move? No, he won't, but he was only 800ths back into the braking zone, so it's very close action from all of this top 7.
It is getting very interesting as Noodles gets a 3-sec Farmer Sam's. Oh my god, it's a safety car. Oh my.
That changes
it's
everything.
It's a safety car.
That changes absolutely everything here in Monza. So there's now going to be 1 lap of safety car, and then it'll be in for a 2-lap dash to the end, and you could not write a script any better, I dare say, as we head into the final stages. We're about to head on to lap 25. The safety car will come in going on to lap 26, so it is going to be a 2-lap shootout between all of these drivers for the victory. This is going to be a very close finish.
Most definitely, and Left 4 Dead could be seeing another win in Rapid once again, and Abyss is chasing his first win in Rapid. So he's had 2 second places, he's yet to get a win here in Rapid. Could he do it in the Ferrari for the Tifosi? Can he do it, or will it be Oxchillo, the reigning champion? Can he make a win in his name, or will he stay on the podium? Could Campbell Adams find a way up into this winning number? But it's all to play for. Could even Jamie find a way past Potato and fight for that win? Will there be mistakes from the top 5? Anything can happen. Anything can happen. And again, could we see the penalties being a deciding factor at the end of this race, because I can tell you right now, the only person on 2 warnings is Campbell Adams. He's the only person on 2 warnings, so one mistake and it's all over for him. There's no going back.
Yeah, it is going to be a really interesting finish to this race, and one mistake from Campbell could find it all slipping away. But the safety car is in this lap, J-Rad. Do you want to take this safety car restart?
Might as well. For the final time here in Monza, the Temple of Speed. Will it be Thomas Reid? Will he take home the win? Will it be Abyss chasing his first win? A win for the Tifosi. Oxchillo, the reigning champion, last season's champion. Can he make it into the top step of the podium? Or will it be his championship rival, Campbell Adams, increasing his lead in this race, in the championship? When does Thomas Reid go? Is he going to go late like what he did last time at the end of the restart? And yes, he does once again, but this time Abyss is awake, and so too is Oxchillo, so too is Campbell Adams. As we head down into turn 1, this is going to be carnage down into turn 1, because they're all side by side. It's 3 wide into turn 1. As Campbell Adams moves himself up into P2, Potato up into P4, fights down the inside into P3. He's going to go around the outside of Abyss here. And with that penalty hovering over his head, I reckon there's something we don't know, Lindsay, whatsoever. But this has not helped Oxchillo one bit. As now here they go through the second chicane, a Potato having a massive mistake. It's just not helping Oxchillo as well, who's going to stay behind. And as it stands, this is your top 3. And Thomas Reid, he is pushing this car to the absolute limits. We're going to have 1 lap of DRS, but it's only going to be effective in the straight that we're on right now towards Ascari, and then it's just a slipstream train to the end of this race. So it's pretty much his Left 4 Dead's win to lose at this stage of the race. The gap is 6.5 seconds between Left 4 Dead and Campbell Adams, but that was a very crucial start from Lefty. But Abyss and Oxchillo were awake. Lindsay.
Yep, so we have 1 more lap to decide this race win. Thomas Reid leads it away from Campbell Adams, then Abyss. Then you have Oxchillo and Potato, but it is a big gap that Thomas Reid has over the rest of the pack, and he doesn't have DRS down this back straight, down this first straight either, does Campbell Adams, so he has a monumental task ahead of him here, as the gap is 7/10. We could see a final lap, final corner move for the win as we head through the Curva Grande. Thomas Reid still leading away by over 6.5 tenths of a second. He has this race in the palm of his hand. Can Campbell Adams rip it away from him at the dying stage here on lap 27 to 27 as we head through the middle sector now, through the Lesmos. This is crucial for Campbell Adams to get right if he wants to try and take this win away at the final moment, but the gap is 8 tenths. This could be too much to overcome for the McLaren as he has all the battery burning away in the McLaren. He's closing in and closing in. We've seen him close greater gaps in this race, but when Thomas is also using all of his battery, it's not going to be enough. It's going to take 1 monumental push through a sky if he wants to get it, so it looks like it is going to go Thomas Reid's way as they head towards the Parabolica for one last time. He had it ripped away from him in Brazil. Oxchillo took that win after a long, hard battle, and now he's going to round the Parabolica in round 3, and he's going to be victorious in the Temple of Speed. Thomas Reid is your race. Where's the 3 wide across the line? Abyss gets P2, Campbell gets P3, Oxchillo gets P4, Finns gets P5, Potato drops all the way back to P10. I would love to go back and watch that one again. That was an absolutely massive photo finish to decide the podium.
There was a lot of contact at that finish. There was a lot going on there. It was pretty much 3 wide to the line, and the doors closed on Oxchillo. So could we see pending shields, or is that your confirmed top 3? But what a way to finish this race. And Left 4 Dead taking home the win. Abyss, another P2. Another P2 for in Tier 1. He's yet to find his first race win here in Rapid. And Campbell Adams extending his championship lead over Oxchillo in what it is a stellar Italian Grand Prix here at Monza. Lindsay, what was your thoughts on that race?
That was an absolutely chaotic finish, if I've ever seen it, and I did not see the three wide across the line until the last possible moment. But Thomas Reed definitely had his day today.
Can you
And
scroll back?
so,
Continue.
a very close finish here in the Temple Speed. Potato will be very upset to finish only P10 after what was such a strong outing. But Finns takes you P5, then Jammy, Kalki, Viper, Trent Newton, Potato, Yusuf Goat, Josh Ioannidis drops back to P11 or P12, then Mahavir, Beveridge, Rubric, Rilo, Farmer Sam, Munry, and ZK rounds out your grid. As now we'll go to the podium sequence here for Monza. So just waiting for the podium sitters to get into the call. And then we'll get interviews underway. But J-Rad, it was a very, very, very close finish. Do you have any final thoughts on that one?
Mind blowing. That was, as what you said, cinema, absolute cinema. That finish between Ox Chiller, Cam Adams, and Abyss. That was cinema. That was something that you'd see out of cars.
Yeah, that is 100% true. As all of the podium sitters joining in now. As I've already forgotten the top three. How good am I?
You're very good, aren't you?
I know, right?
It was Left 4 Dead, Abyss, Campbell Adams.
Yep. Let me just do my job.
As you're fixing that, we'll start off with P3, and it is Campbell Adams on the podium once again. And it was a stellar, pretty much a dominant performance from you in the qualifying session, hitting a flat 18 for pole position. I do reckon, I think you and I reckon you could have hit the 17s in that qualified session and in the race as well. You're pretty much in that fight the whole entire time in that top three, and on the final lap, final corner, on the final little straight, you came home P3 but could have been a P2. But tell us what your thoughts were during that race and what was going through your mind in that DRS train.
Yeah, I definitely had a 17 in that lap. I was 4/10 up on my medium tire, and then last corner I was only 3/10 up, so I lost about a tenth in the last corner. Just silly mistake there, but no, the race was good. I completely messed up on setup. I went way too low wings, and I really struggled throughout the whole race. Changed it for the hards. It felt better for sure. I definitely felt like I had more pace, but. Just overall, I struggled a bit to get used to the setup, having just really struggling through the corners. But yeah, the strategy was to get Ox on that safety car restart because third was always the best place to be. But then got Abyss, and then yeah, last corner, last lap was insane. 200s between three cars was crazy. So nah, GG's to everyone. GG's to Thomas on his win. He deserved it for sure. And no, it was good.
Yeah, that was very good. It was good to see you on the top three once again. Unfortunately, we couldn't do the sprint round, obviously, because of the maintenance. Pretty much, we won't have a race next week because we'll be having a week break. But after the week break, we'll be at Baku in Azerbaijan. What are your thoughts on that track?
I don't mind it actually, but I won't be able to race, unfortunately. But no, I do like the track, but yeah.
You hear that, Oxchillo? Just get some good points. Anyway, congratulations to you and enjoy the podium.
Thank you very much.
As we'll now move on to P2, Abyss in P2 in the Ferrari for the Tifosi. Could have been a P1, could have been his first win in Rapid, but yet again he hits another number 2 in his tally as well. He's turning out to be Lando Norris, and he's hunting for his first win. But you had a very strong performance in qualifying and in the race as well. You were in that top 5 the whole entire time, and the last corner, last lap, you had Oxchillo on your tail, and you managed to steal away the P2 off Campbell Adams. But tell us how you felt during that race and in that DRS train as well.
Stressed is probably the best word for a race at Monza, especially on this game with the terroristic DRS and ERS. But no, I think it was really well managed. I basically always managed to get that DRS. There was a scare there at the start of the race where Oxchillo decided to send it down the inside of the second chicane. We did actually lose DRS there, but with a big slingshot back onto them and a good first sector, managed to get back in. Other than that, yeah, good race. It's about time I got one of these results. I felt a little bit hard done by in Brazil with the whole qualifying shenanigans, and I couldn't really show what I think I could have had in that, but still P6. And then again, Australia, we had got the damage. So finally one where I managed to get up into these top few positions where you can actually make the overtakes and race for the win. Unfortunately, that safety car restart just that last one didn't quite go to plan. Lefty managed to get a big lead after Campbell went around my outside, and Oxchillo and Potato, it was a bit of chaos at the chicane. So after that, we pretty much all knew it was going to be a battle for P2, and Oxchillo just picked the wrong line. He probably would have been P2 up to the line because he had the run on me, but then he went to the left. So I just sucked him to that side and he couldn't go anywhere. So yeah, that was close as. I can't believe I actually got Campbell in the end, but yeah, what a finish, and it's about time I got one of these good results, so that'll help me out in the standings and bring me back just a tiny little bit.
Yeah, just a tiny bit. Yeah, you did. The first 2 rounds have been good in your favour whatsoever with the wing damage and bad luck, but in the end, you're standing here in P2, and yeah, the doors pretty much just closed on each other, and yeah, Oxchillo just had no way through, but congratulations to you on the P2. Obviously, we have a week break as of next week, so enjoy the week off. But after that, it will be Baku. What are your thoughts on that track, and how do you feel about racing around there?
That should be good fun. Well, I don't think I've done a league race on that track maybe in 2 games, so that should be interesting. Probably Left 4 Dead Paradise, unfortunately, but hopefully we can stay in the suck and maybe beat him at his favourite track. That's going to be another one of those where there's just going to be a lot of chaos with the DRS, especially down into turn 1. Probably expect a big stack there at some point, or even into turn 3. But that's a really fun track, enjoyable track, tough, really hard. So you got to really focus at that one. But yeah, keen as, and hard-earned week off.
Yeah, most definitely. And there'll be probably a lot of DNFs in that Baku race as well. But congratulations, you've earned this P2, and enjoy it.
Cheers, fellas. Thank you.
We'll now move on to P1. It's been a long time coming as well. Left 4 Dead on the top step of the podium once again. You had a P2 in qualifying. You had stellar pace throughout the whole race. And in the moments where you needed to, you got the jump on Abyss and the others in the safety cars, and you did it. You pretty much nailed it in the coffin, and you're now on the top step of the podium. But tell us how you felt during qualifying and the race, and how your setup felt.
Yeah. Honestly, in qualifying, I felt pretty comfortable. I took a risk going out a little bit earlier. I was always going to come in, but then I realized that I was 2 tenths up, and I'd actually got the first 2 chicanes perfect, which is pretty hard to do. So I just committed and finished the lap, knowing I wouldn't get another one. And then for the race, yeah, the setup was honestly great. I felt comfortable on every curb. I didn't really have any moments, so I was able to just get the best out of it, and it eventually took me to the win.
Yeah, and it was pretty much a stellar performance from you. You had the pace all night long as well, and obviously we'll have the week break next week, and after that the race will be at Baku in Azerbaijan. What are your thoughts on that track? How do you feel about that track?
Well, it's my favorite track. It's probably the one that I'm quickest at as well, so it should be positive, but I think the likes of Campbell and Abyss and Oxchillo will still be there. Yeah, it should be fun. Like Abyss said, it's going to be a lot of DRS play, especially into turn 1 with the walls and that, and turn 3. So also the castle, I think there is potential for a lot of stack ups. So keep your eye out for it.
Yeah, most definitely. But congratulations to you and enjoy that P1.
Cheers, mate.
Lindsay, anything to say to these boys before we end it off?
No, not really. Absolutely fantastic racing all around here in the Temple of Speed. And thank you for watching, everybody. If you're watching on the Sensational TV secondary broadcast over on the YouTube, thank you for watching as well. But everybody here in the main stream on the Rapid Twitch,